basically digging up these holes 5 foot deep, 5 foot in diameter, and they're basically having all these classic adventures, and also at the same time they tell a story of what the Camp Green Lake was all about, and how it came to be, and how it was this nice, pleasant town. Oh my gosh, how could I forget? Also, Dule Hill from Psych was in it too. That's right. I love Dule Hill. I think that he's just an amazing, funny actor. And again, if you haven't seen,
which one was he? Which character?
he was Sam the Onion Man for when they were doing like those flashbacks.
Oh, oh, I love Sam.
It was.
The Hope was a good movie. Hope was a good movie.
It was really good, you guys.
And the Medium was in there too. She was the girl in the like the actress from the Medium.
Which was she? Well, not Sigourney Weaver, right?
No.
Okay, that's what I figured.
The blonde haired, the peaches. She had the best peaches. They would trade.
What was her name? It was a Patricia something. I forgot what her last name was, but but I know who you're talking about. She oh my gosh, she was definitely like a wild card in this entire movie, because when they tell the story of how she came to be kissing Kate Barlow, to see her go from like this, nice and classy school teacher to this, this crazy, kissing, killing vigilante. Jeez Louise, I mean, it's just crazy how she just evolved from that and how well she did it. That just shows you how well actors can do it. Holy cow, it shocked the hell out of me. I'm like, oh, she's so nice, and there's like, oh wow, I forgot she was actually.
They killed Sam, and they were mean. They tried to get her to be married. I'm not surprised she went crazy like that. Vengeful. It wasn't crazy. She was out for revenge. She hated men forever.
Oh man, yeah, it was.
Sam. That was the saddest part. I was like, no.
That was a hard part for me. Again, I love Dule Hill, and he definitely did not deserve to go out in that downward spiral. Anyway, the next pick, number 6. This is going to be one that I'm going to be interested if you remember this one. This was a classic animated movie that really is very family oriented, and I always loved watching this movie. The movie is Once Upon a Forest, which basically talks about how all of these younger animals that are going on this adventure to save their friend who is a little badger, and they've only had the knowledge of her uncle, who was an older badger. Yeah, with I'm trying to think here.
Yeah.
I think Abigail.
I have that on VHS.
It was, oh man, that was such a good movie.
Really remember it,
It was really good, but the crazy thing was I actually had to do a little research on this, and I'm thinking this was such a good movie. Why did it not do as well as I thought it did? And I had to look down and see why. They said, oh, it was a really good movie, but the problem was it had some stiff competition back in 1993, which was Jurassic Park. And I'm thinking, oh, well, yeah, that movie kind of would blow a lot of things out of the water. So Once Upon a Forest was good, but I guess compared to Jurassic Park, that was kind of hard to tough. But yeah, Once Upon a Forest was a really good movie, very family oriented. A couple of dark spots again, but it's just really, really good. It shows basically how these 3 kids have just basically grown up and they became something more than furlings. They became, actual adults in a matter of like an hour in that movie, but it seemed like a matter of like 2-3 days roughly. It was, in all honesty, it's a really damn good movie. I would recommend that forever and a day, but I also have about a couple more that I would also recommend. So that was a really good movie, and it definitely tugs on your heartstrings quite a bit.
Yeah. I hardly remember it, but I do remember the characters. I was like, Once Upon a Forest, I had I did. Googled it really quick, and sure enough, I remember them flying in that flying machine and stuff, and the preacher.
The flapper wing of a thing, that's right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's like preaching and stuff.
Oh, that guy, I remember him, that's right. Like, I forget what he was, if he was like just a regular bird, or if he was like a... No, he wasn't a
He
rooster.
looked like a duck, but I'm not sure.
I could see.
I don't know what he was.
Oh, man. All right, so what's your number 6 there?
My number 6, I've talked about this from our podcast before. It's Van Helsing.
Oh, that's
I
right.
I think a lot of people kind of overlooked this movie. I know from my friends, like, they didn't really necessarily even know it happened. Like, it was in theaters for a little while, and they were like, they even tell me to this day, they're like, I remember you always wanted to watch that Van Helsing movie. And they're like, we liked it, but we never saw it before your house. Like, no one has it except you. I'm like, aw. Like, with Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale. And, I mean, it kind of gives it away by saying what the title is, of course. It's about Van Helsing, the epic vampire killer, or all-monster hunter type of guy, you know, coming to Transylvania to help out this family who is cursed to have to kill Dracula, stuff like that. And I think I was recently talking about this film on a horror podcast that I was doing, and they were kind of like, you know, knocking it, saying how they hated it, and yada yada. And I was like, you know what? I didn't hate it. I really liked it a lot because it brings together all of these classic horror, like, monsters. It has the Frankenstein monster. It has Dracula. It has wolves, werewolves, and it has, you know, Van Helsing, the classic vampire hunter. Like, that's all you want in a movie when you're, like, thinking of these different beasts and all. Like, when we talked about the London series, I definitely brought up Van Helsing a lot because it explains, like, the past of Dracula and why Dracula hates werewolves and kind of the classic werewolf versus vampire, and they turn into these awesome, big, gigantic monsters, and I just love it. I think it's really fun. It's action-packed, and if you haven't seen it and you like horror films, you like these horror monsters, it's kind of a cool, different take. Yes, there's a lot of CGI, which a lot of horror people are like, ooh, I hate CGI, but I don't know how you would create these monstrous-looking creatures and make them move the way that CGI makes them move. I liked it.
I think I'd be willing to give it a chance, and then after I've seen it, maybe I could start knocking on it. But maybe I'll be in the same path as you, where it's like, you know what? It has all these factors in it. It has everything in here. Just let me enjoy this, okay? Let me take this.
Right, and it's an action movie. It's not a horror movie.
Sweet.
Don't think it's going to scare you. It just has the classic horror, you know, monsters in it.
All right. Well, we are now down to the nitty-gritty because we are at our top 5 right now, and we are kicking off with the one and only VicTori Belle, number 5. Your number 5 is...
Well, my number 5 is a kids movie, but it's called Spirit, the Stallion of the Samurai. Samurai. Oops, said it wrong. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh my gosh, all I can think to myself is if it's the one movie that I'm thinking it is, then I haven't gotten a chance to see it, but if it's one that I'm not too familiar with, I won't feel as bad.
It's about Mustangs, like horses.
Yes, that was the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah, I loved this movie. I actually remember going to see it with one of my friends for her birthday party, and it's by DreamWorks, so it's not a Disney film.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the same people who brought you Shrek is on the top. Of course, I love Shrek too.
Oh yeah.
But it's a different animated movie because most like animated animal movies had the animals talking and the animals really interacting with you, and this was more of a narrated, like the horse is narrating it, but it doesn't talk, doesn't have those humanistic qualities, but there are people within this. It's about, conquering the West, the Old West, and how the free horses of that area kind of felt about it, and how they were getting their land taken from them. And there's, of course, Native Americans in here. There's the old generals that were tasked to conquer the West and build the railroad. It really does a great job of making you feel the beauty of that land, which we still have. Which, if you guys haven't gone to any of those national parks, like this movie makes you want to just go visit all these different cool places and bald eagles, buffalo, like Mustang. Just makes you feel really in tune with nature, and the animation is really good. Their eyes are a little more humanistic than you'd think of for a horse and everything, so that they could express since they're not talking. But I have to say, the best part about this movie is the soundtrack, and the soundtrack kind of just makes you go along with it. It's by Bryan Adams, who is an amazing, he's an amazing musician, and I own the soundtrack, and I still to this day listen to it, and I can sing every single word. But it's amazing. You should check it out and buy the soundtrack. Bryan Adams is amazing.
Hashtag cheap plug. I remember from that movie, just the little girl that plays the horse, where she's just like, horsey, just plays around, and then everybody just remembers the little girl just saying, bye bye horsey.
The American girl who grabs his nose.
Oh man, it just looks, it's so good. I mean, if you cannot show emotion when you see this little girl just being so adorable to this horse, then what is wrong with you? It was just so heartwarming. It's beautiful. Just see this little girl just not know the horses, and this horse showing a little compassion after being a little bit of a jerk, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, well, honey, this is what happens when you play with a horse's nose too long. So, all right.
Yeah, it's really different. It's a cool animated movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. All right, so my number 5 is actually a science fiction related movie, and it actually went off the television series Firefly. I went with Serenity, which is basically what you get when you put together a vigilante, a married couple, a doctor, his genetic sister, an engineer, a minister, and a prostitute. They all get on a ship, and it's honestly really, really good. The story behind it, basically, they're trying to protect the doctor's sister from being taken into the wrong hands, but they also have to deal with these random vigilantes and other people that would either want to harm them or kill them. I will say this, before you guys look at Serenity, you have to check out the Firefly series, which is on Netflix. It was on Fox for a little while. They only got through one season, and then they did the movie. Honestly, I wish they could have done so much more. This was a great series. The characters are very well developed. They all have a unique personality where you can either love them, you can hate them. It's really, it is, in all honesty, really good. I don't want to give away too much because I will admit that some of the main characters die in the movie, but there are a lot of, I know, I'm not going to mention who, but I actually didn't get a chance to watch Serenity, and then I watched Watch Mojo Top 10 Unexpected Death Series, and then I saw one of the leads dying in that. I'm like, what? Damn it, now the movie's ruined for me. Come on, man. I was not expecting that.
That's your own fault.
Fair enough. In all honesty, though, I watched those
too. I love those things.
It was a really good series, and like I said, I recommend anybody to go check it out. They're about as long as probably Stranger Things, about maybe 45 minutes. Some might maybe last about an hour. Maybe I'm thinking Walking Dead. Whatever. But again, Serenity's number 5. Number 4 was actually brought up by a coworker because we were talking about this, and she was mentioning a couple movies. Like I said, Beastly was one of them, and this was originally where Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events was going to be. But when she and I were talking about this movie, all honesty, I thought, yeah, that